Good morning, students. So welcome back to the software testing again. Today we will be discussing another method, that is decision table based testing. Now decision table based testing is what exactly? This method is actually used where output depends upon combination of input conditions. Like for example, if you go to a departmental store, say let's take an example of Big Bazaar. Right? Now the final bill is being prepared based on the items you purchased. Along with this, there are several other parameters which contributes to your final bill. That is, if you're a payback member, if you have say Axis Bank credit card, then you have some coupons, right? That means these all combination of all the three with different criterias, then your final bill is being created. Or you have a criteria like if you shop for greater than 2000, you'll get 5% extra discount. If it is greater than say 5000 or 10,000, you will get a discount of 10%, or maybe beyond you get a 20%. That means only just one parameter is not responsible for giving the final output. There is a combination of inputs, different combinations according to which our output might vary. So this is what we'll be discussing here. Since the previous method that we have done, boundary value analysis, equivalence partitioning, they were totally based on single input. But if multiple inputs are there and their combination has an impact, then we take use of decision table. Now it is another method to represent the information in a tabular form. First of all, it has the speciality to consider complex combination of input conditions and resulting actions. And basically it has the power of logical expressions where we are going to use the concepts of true and false. So how do we make actually a decision table? The decision table consists of 4 components. Let's take an example from here. We have divided this table into 4 parts. One is a condition stub. This part represents condition entry, action stub and action entry. 4 parts. So condition stub is something where we are supposed to write all the conditions, right, pertaining to a certain thing. We'll see with the help of an example. Action stub is what possible outcomes are possible. The criteria will be mentioned. In the condition entry part, we write the combinations in the form of rules. True and false are there and it make a rule here. And action stub is what exactly is the outcome, the action taken finally is represented with a cross. So condition stub lists the input conditions. Action stub list of resulting actions. Condition entry specifies the entry in the table corresponding to input condition mentioned in the condition stub, where we enter true and false for all the input conditions for a particular combination. Then it is called a rule. Action entry is the entry in the table for the resulting action to be performed when one rule is satisfied, and it is represented with an X. X is not a cross, it is what action taken is being represented with this X symbol here. Okay. Now how to make a decision table? First of all, you need to identify list of all actions, list of all conditions, associate specific set of conditions with specific actions, and define rules by indicating what action occurs for a set of combinations or conditions. Right. Test case design using decision table. How we actually do it? We have to interpret condition stub as the input. Action stubs are expected output for the test case. Rule, which is a combination of input conditions, becomes the test case itself. That means rule, that is a column, is a test case. How many columns we have is corresponding to rules, which is corresponding to the number of test cases. And if there are k rules over n binary conditions, there are at least k test cases and at the most 2n test cases. Let's see with the help of an example which will make the concept better clear. Right? First one is a program calculates the total salary of an employee with the conditions that if the working hours are less than or equal to 48, then give normal salary. That means one parameter that contributes to the salary is your number of working hours. So if it is less than or equal to 48, give him the normal salary. While if the number of hours is greater than 48, then the salary will be given at the rate of 1.2 times of the salary. However, if it is a holiday or a Sunday, the hours are calculated at the rate of 2 times of the salary. So 3 distinct conditions are there. So see, we need to identify the conditions. So one is number of hours, right? Second one is if it is greater than 48, the number of hours, then you will pay 1.25, and third one is if it is Sunday or a holiday. So 3 distinct conditions are given to us, right? So how we have made this? See, condition stub, we used to write the conditions. The first condition is number of working hours, and second condition is if it is a holiday or a Sunday. Now what is the impact of number of hours? Right? If the number of hours is greater than 48, we have said if it is less than or equal to, then we are going to pay a normal salary. If it is greater than 48, we'll be paying the salary 1.25 times, and if it is on a Sunday or a holiday, we'll give 2 times of the salary. So here we have mentioned I. I represents a don't care condition. Don't care condition means is if it is less than 48 or greater than 48 or equal to, it does not impact at all. For example, in this case, see, we have written true for holiday or a Sunday. If it is a holiday or a Sunday, you don't have to check for number of hours. Simply, if it is a holiday or a Sunday, simply the salary paid will be is a A3 case, that is action taken will be 2 times of the salary. So cross is mentioned A here. That means third action will be taken. Okay, true number of hours does not impact the salary. Now if number of hours is not greater than 48 and neither it's a holiday or a Sunday, so you will pay a normal salary. Okay, so cross is mentioned in this column in front of A1. That means a normal salary is given. While if number of hours is greater than 48 but it is not a Sunday or a holiday, so in that case you will give the salary as 1.25 times of the salary. So cross is mentioned here. So see, the entire thing theoretically it was a long problem, but with the help of our table it's very simplified. You have all the conditions mentioned out here, you have all the possible actions that could be taken, then true and false values for each, which one is applicable, based on that rules are prepared, and finally what is the action taken is represented with a cross. So once any input file comes in and they have different input combination, you simply have to look into this table and finally tell what is the possible outcome. So with least complexity, easily you can tell what will be the possible outcome with the help of this table. Right? So this is a decision table. Now how do we make test cases from this decision table? So again, test case table will be prepared where we will mention the test case ID. Then input will be working hours and day. 2 inputs are there. Working hours will take, sometimes will take greater than 40, will take less than 40 accordingly, and day we can take working days also, or we can take holiday or Sundays also. So if it is, let's take first case, that is number of working hours is 48 and if it is a Monday, so we'll give a normal salary. But if the number of working hours is greater, that is 50 and it is a working day, so 1.2 times. If it is 52, number of hours is greater, but if it is a Sunday, so there is no impact of the hour, it is a Sunday, directly you will give a salary that is 2 times of the salary. So this is how the test case is prepared using a decision table. Thank you.